Booktube, I'm coming to you with another tag. Yes, that's 2 tags in a row, 2 days in a row. Well, I had meant the previous tag that went out yesterday to be scheduled for today, but I made a mistake, so it went live yesterday. So I thought I'd do another one. I was tagged by Aaron Facer a number of weeks ago. It's called the Reading Tics Tag. And there's 9 prompts, and the 10th is to tag others. And I've got my phone here, so I'm going to read them off here. Do you only read at a specific time of day? No, the 24-hour clock, anytime. Because I'm too tired sometimes during the day to read so much, and then I'll read at night. It's various times, or a little bit all the way through, because I can't spend like 8 hours in bed laying down, so I have to get up. And a lot of times when I'm up, I'll read a little bit. And I don't, yeah, I'll read at various times. At any time that I feel like reading during the 24 hours. Number 2, do you prefer to read in your work/everyday clothes, or are you partial to reading in PJs or comfy clothes? It's whatever I'm wearing. In the wintertime, because it's colder, I'm wearing usually, like this is almost like a coat, but it's a very thick flannel shirt over top of another shirt. And then sometimes I'll have my coat on, and then I'll have my blankie to cover up my feet that are cold most of the time. So, and then in the summertime, least amount of cold clothes as possible if it's too hot. Now, number 3, what is your favorite reading spot? Couch, chair, bed, outdoors, somewhere else? These days, it's sitting in a chair like this, but usually in the kitchen. I've been for the last week in the living room, but I'm going to move things back into the kitchen until I get the living room properly sorted, so I'm in here all the time. But it'll be sitting here or upstairs in my bedroom, which I have a chair, which I'll read there occasionally. Not too long of periods, but as I said in the previous one, or the number 1, where I'll read at nighttime when I get up. I rarely ever read in bed anymore because I can't hold a book. But if I do have an electronic copy of a book that I've been reading, and I can follow along in the electronic copy, I might lay down for a bit while I get tired, read a few pages on the electronic. That's about all I can do, maybe 10-15 minutes maximum. So it'll add to my overall reading of the day. Outdoors, well, I'd like to have my back. I have a little courtyard. I'd like to have that set up so I could sit out there in the summer or at other times and read. But that's for, someday, hopefully, I can sort that out. Excuse me. Number 4, do you snack while reading, or is this a no-go? I generally don't, because I don't like having stuff on my fingers while I'm reading. I will occasionally, which I don't have most of the time, but chocolate. But occasionally, if I do have a chocolate bar or something like that, a piece, I'll sort of, have a piece, have that, and then, once per chapter or something like that, or every couple pages, I'll treat myself to that. But that's usually it. But I have to make sure there's nothing on my hands, because I don't like getting stuff, especially oil, on books. And it's bad enough just your bare fingers. Number 5, do you have or ever peeked at the end of a book, or do you avoid spoilers at all costs? Spoilers I don't really care about. Saying that, the only thing is crime, mystery fiction. I don't want to know that the butler did it before I find out. I do look at the back of the book a lot of times. I look sometimes to see how many pages there are, I might glance at a couple words at the end, but usually I don't read books that, sum itself up, or, wait till the last few words or sentences to complete the story. So, yeah, spoilers don't bother me, in other words. Number 6, do you prefer first person or third person narrative, or do you care? Well, it depends on the book and the writer. First person sometimes works well, but a lot of times third person does too. And with an omniscient narrator, that sometimes work, but it depends on when the book was written and how well the author deals with it. So, no real preference, I would say. Let me see. Number 7. Do you read dedications, authors' notes, acknowledgements, or do you skip those? No, I read all those. I might not read sort of the introduction if it's a book that I haven't read before, um, or I'll read parts of it for the historical content, or translators' notes, that kind of thing, or the editions that it's based on, if it's translated or reprinted. But then once it gets into the story, like any critical stuff, if I haven't read the story, as I said, I will wait to the end to read that. But I do read it. And then the author's notes, I always read any notes uh, eventually. Acknowledgements, yeah, I always go through the acknowledgements. That's interesting to see. But when they spend 2 pages just listing names, I gloss over those very, very briefly. Number 8, do you have a favorite reading beverage? No, not really. If I do have some soft drinks, I have badly gotten back into drinking Pepsi. So if I do that, I'll have a small glass, and every 2 pages or something, I'll have a sip, and I just treat myself like that every 2 pages, or even more, 4 pages sometimes, whatever. But then most of the time, if I have water, then I'm just guzzling it most of the time, which is not good because then I have to get up. Excuse me. Number 9, how do you decide what to read next? TBR, mood, goals, random choice, all the above. I do have sort of a TBR to some extent, and I will sort of in my mind sort of organize what order I'm going to read these books in, or for the month. But at times I throw out all that out of the window if something else comes along, or the opportunity to read with somebody else something that I've wanted to read for quite a while. And that's happened in January, where I was going to be reading Proust all the way through. I was going to read it all in the month. I read 2/3 of it. Yeah, 2/3. Yeah, 2/3 of it. Yeah. And when I got that done, I picked up something else to buddy read with someone, and I haven't got back to that, the last 2 books, which are an omnibus 1 volume Penguin that I have. But I have read it in the past, so it's not a big deal for me to leave it where it is. uh, and yeah, sometimes it's just random, like because I'm still going through books here, I'll find something, I go, ooh, I want to, and so I'll put that aside and I'll see if I can get to it. And sometimes I will grab it immediately to read, or to at least peruse. Mood, goals. Yeah, I try to have goals, but I don't really follow them that much. I'd like to, be more strict on that, but I'm not too fussy. So anyway, that is the Reader's Ticks Tag, and that was created by Kevin Towley, 9665, and as I said, I was tagged by Aaron Facer. I'll put their links down at the bottom, as well as the prompts. But yeah, so there's my tag for Tag Tuesday.